Did you know that not every thought you have is true or even yours? It's a surprising concept, but it's true. Our minds are filled with thoughts that don't always serve us. In today's video, we are going to explore 3 powerful techniques to challenge those negative thoughts and transform them into something much more positive and empowering. Hello and welcome back to Kai's Calm Kit. I am thrilled you are here with me today. If you have been following along, you might remember our last video where we talked about identifying those pesky negative thought patterns that sneak into our daily lives. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking it out after this one. I will leave the link in the description. Today's video is part of our Positive Mindset Makeover, Cognitive Restructuring Techniques series, a journey all about helping you take control of your thoughts and ultimately your life. We have covered the basics, we've learned how to spot those negative thoughts, and now it's time to take it a step further by learning how to challenge and change them. So let's dive in. Technique number 1, Socratic Questioning. Now that we've identified those negative thought patterns, let's move on to something even more powerful, challenging them. This is where you can start to take control of your mindset by questioning your thoughts and breaking free from the patterns that hold you back. One of the most effective ways to do this is through a method called Socratic Questioning, rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy. This technique involves breaking down and analyzing your thoughts to see if they truly hold up under scrutiny. Let's consider a common thought pattern, perfectionism. It is that voice in your head that tells you, I'm not ready yet, I need to be perfect before I can try something new. Maybe you have been thinking about a career change but hold back because you believe this path is too hard. No one ever succeeds in it, or I am not good enough to compete in this field. These thoughts can be crippling, leading to procrastination, self-doubt, and missed opportunities. Imagine you've been dreaming of switching careers to something you are passionate about, like starting your own business or moving into a creative field. But every time you think about taking that leap, the perfectionism in you kicks in. You might think, I'm not ready yet. I need more experience, more skills, maybe another degree before I can even consider this. Or you start to feel like an imposter, thinking, who am I to think I can succeed when so many others fail? This is where Socratic questioning can be transformative. Start by asking yourself, what evidence do I have that I need to be perfect before I start? Is it true that no one succeeds in this field? Or am I focusing on the exceptions rather than the rule? What is the worst that could happen if I try and don't succeed immediately? Would that really be a failure or just a learning experience? Who says I have to be perfect? Is this belief serving me or is it holding me back? Socratic questioning helps you cut through the noise of perfectionism and imposter syndrome by challenging the beliefs that fuel these thoughts. You will see that these thoughts are often based on fear, not facts. When you let go of the need to be perfect, you open yourself up to taking risks, trying new things, and growing in ways you never thought possible. It's about giving yourself permission to be imperfect, to learn as you go, and to trust that you are capable even if you are not perfect. Take a moment to consider, what does perfect really mean to you? Are there specific criteria that define perfection in your mind? Is it about achieving flawless results, meeting external expectations, or perhaps never making mistakes? And importantly, are these criteria based on truth or are they just beliefs you've carried with you since childhood? Many of us have been conditioned to associate our self-worth with perfection. But what if we redefine perfection? Instead of striving for an unattainable ideal, what if we focused on committed, imperfect actions? This shift in perspective allows us to see that perfection is not a destination, but a limiting belief that hinders our growth. Consider this. The best way to know if we are doing something perfectly is by committing to it consistently and improving as we go. Perfectionism tells you to wait until you are fully prepared, but committed action invites you to start where you are and learn through experience. Remember, no one is searching for perfection. We are all searching for value, growth, and the joy of pursuing what we love. So the next time you find yourself falling into the trap of perfectionism, ask yourself, what is one small, imperfect action I can take today that will bring me closer to my goals? Shift your focus from what is perfect to what is possible. Embrace the journey, knowing that every step you take, no matter how imperfect, brings you closer to the life you desire. Think about it. How has perfectionism held you back? What might you do differently if you allowed yourself to be imperfect? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Technique number 2, Mindfulness-Based Cognitive Therapy, MBCT. Now that we've seen how Socratic questioning can help us challenge perfectionist thoughts, let's explore another powerful tool for managing negative thinking, Mindfulness-Based Cognitive Therapy, or MBCT. This approach is all about learning to observe our thoughts without immediately reacting to them, which is key in staying grounded and present. MBCT combines traditional cognitive therapy with mindfulness practices. It teaches us to step back and observe our thoughts and feelings as they arise without getting swept away by them. This practice helps create a space between the thought and our reaction, allowing us to choose how to respond rather than automatically reacting. Imagine you are preparing for an important presentation and suddenly the thought pops into your head, I'm going to mess this up. It's a thought that could easily spiral into anxiety and self-doubt. But with MBCT, instead of letting that thought control you, you pause and simply notice it. You might say to yourself, there is that worry again, without letting it define your reality. By acknowledging the thought without judgment, you prevent it from snowballing into a full-blown panic. MBCT helps you realize that a thought is just a thought. It doesn't have to control you. This practice empowers you to stay focused on the present moment and on what you can actually do, like preparing thoroughly for your presentation. Mindfulness isn't about getting rid of negative thoughts, it's about changing our relationship with them. By observing thoughts mindfully, you can break the automatic cycle of reacting and instead respond with clarity and calmness. This technique is incredibly powerful in keeping you grounded, especially in high-pressure situations. Technique number 3, Cognitive Diffusion. After exploring how mindfulness can help us stay present and calm in the face of negative thoughts, let's move on to another transformative technique from acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, called Cognitive Diffusion. This approach is about learning to detach from our negative thoughts rather than getting entangled in them. Cognitive diffusion is a technique that helps us see our thoughts for what they are, just words or images passing through our mind, not necessarily truths. Instead of allowing a thought to dominate our emotions and actions, cognitive diffusion teaches us to step back and observe it from a distance, reducing its power over us. Let's take the thought of I'm not good enough. This kind of thought can be incredibly crippling, affecting your self-esteem and motivation. With cognitive diffusion, instead of accepting this thought as fact, you might visualize it as a cloud floating by, or repeat it out loud until it loses its impact. For example, saying I'm not good enough over and over can make it sound almost ridiculous, and you begin to realize that it's just a string of words, not a reflection of your true self. This technique is powerful because it helps you create distance between yourself and your thoughts. When you no longer see negative thoughts as absolute truths, they lose their grip on your emotions and actions. Cognitive diffusion allows you to respond to your thoughts more flexibly and with greater self-compassion, making them far less daunting. By practicing cognitive diffusion, you can diminish the emotional impact of negative thoughts like I'm not good enough. It's a reminder that thoughts are just thoughts. They don't define you or your abilities. This approach can significantly reduce the intensity of negative thinking, making it more manageable and less overwhelming. We've covered some powerful techniques today that can truly transform how you interact with your thoughts. First, we explored Socratic Questioning, a method to critically challenge and reframe limiting beliefs like perfectionism, turning them into opportunities for growth instead of obstacles. Next, we dove into Mindfulness-Based Cognitive Therapy, MBCT, which teaches us to observe our thoughts without reacting, staying present and grounded, especially when faced with anxiety-inducing situations like public speaking, for example. And finally, we discussed cognitive diffusion from ACT, a technique that helps us detach from thoughts like I'm not good enough, reducing their emotional power and allowing us to respond with greater flexibility and self-compassion. The key takeaway from today's video is that thoughts are not universal truths. They don't have to define you. You have the power to choose which thoughts you want to engage with and which ones to let go. By applying these techniques, you can start to reshape your mental landscape, cultivating a mindset that empowers you rather than holding you back. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel and gets this content in front of more people who might need it. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. I would love to hear from you. What negative thought patterns have you noticed in your own life? Have you tried any of these techniques before? How did they work for you? Sharing your experiences can not only help you process your thoughts, but also inspire others who are on the same journey. And if you are eager to go even deeper, stay tuned for our next video, where we will explore advanced techniques for replacing negative thoughts with empowering beliefs. We will take these concepts to the next level, showing you how to not just challenge, but completely reframe your thinking. Also, if you haven't checked it out yet, be sure to watch our video Cognitive Restructuring, Changing Negative Thought Patterns. It's an eye-opener and a great companion to what we've discussed today. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this journey towards a more positive, empowered mindset. I am so glad you are here, and I can't wait to continue exploring these concepts together. Until next time, much love and keep moving forward.